Of course we cheated. Welcome back to Daredevil, Phil's recap and review. Daredevil season 3, episodes 11, 12, and 13. We'll be focusing probably on the thing as a whole, but we are going to go through each episode just to make sure we touch on everything as for anyone that has been following us through. So this morning I woke up and I'm not feeling 100%, but this has nothing to do with it. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle watching these one after another and then coming out here and talk. It's not a struggle in a bad way, like poor us, but in the sense that I've been really wanting to see the end of this season. So I reached out to Joe this morning and to see if he was on board with doing a little bit of a cheat and just binge watching the final 3 episodes and coming out here and talking about it. And we're not alone. Of course, we get the live motherfucking chat with Broke and the Walking David in there right now. And hello to you guys, and hello to anyone tuning in or anyone that checked out these Daredevil reviews through the whole season. So first off, we'll give our kind of quick thoughts on the season as a whole and how the season concluded in the finale of the fucking season. And then we're going to go back and talk about each of the last 3 episodes, which I thought were 3 amazing episodes, just as I'll give my thoughts quickly and then I'll pass over to Joe. I thought these 3 episodes really amped up the intensity. It's amazing to see how much happened from episode 11 to episode 13. A lot of crap happened, and it was all awesome for me. I love that I was kind of right that Vanessa was back. Joe was right that Fisk's outcome was not getting killed, but something even kind of better for me, because in the way it all came together, it wasn't so much I can't kill the bad guy. It was the way Fisk wanted him to die. The way the whole scene went made sense to me for who Daredevil was. And to circle it all around with a couple of tweaks, this could have been a good conclusion to the entire this universe. This ending with them starting up a new agency and ending right there with the Kingpin away, locked up in this kind of scenario. They did leave it open, obviously, at the end with the bullseye situation, and Kingpin's not going anywhere. He's coming back. And they hinted at it, I think, they foreshadowed it. What happens if Vanessa gets hit by a car? What happens when Bullseye comes back and kills Vanessa? Then all fucking bets are off. And I am excited to see more. This wasn't, this ended right here. It should end here. But this was a good concluding point.
Oh, this was good.
And I think this was just one of the better ways I've seen a season wrap up. And it didn't have to do what I expected or wanted it to do. It didn't have to kill the bad guy. That whole last final fucking fight with the 3 of them was intense as all dog shit.
Oh my God. This was so fucking good.
It was so much better than season 1's final fight with Daredevil and the Kingpin, which was probably the weak point of season 1 of Daredevil. And this final fight was one of the best final boss fights I've seen in a while. And it's really excellent. I really love this episode. Fucking A.
It was a 3-way, which was part of the fucking deliciousness of it.
The menage a trois of fucking violence was incredible. And I don't know where I'm going to be able to rank this. I'll just try to decide by the end of this podcast if I like this or season 1 better. But
I like this much better than season 1.
And Joe, off to you. Yeah, what are your thoughts here?
This is much better than season 1. These last 3 episodes were fantastic. Some things I was wrong about, some things I was right about for the season, but ultimately just so good. Just so good. I think it's better than season 1. And it's on par with the Punisher half of season 2, and it's up there with Punisher season 1. It's maybe better than, as a whole. I'm enjoying the Daredevil series so fucking much. My ranking doesn't do the fact that all 3 seasons are fantastic.
I text Joe, and I never do this. When we've been doing this a long time now, and I barely ever want to make contact with Joe during episodes of something, so we get out here and get as fresh of a response to talk to each other as possible. So we don't prep, and this is a little behind the closed doors. We don't like to prep because we want our first thoughts to be out here for you guys.
Some of the best things said are said off mic if you're not recording. Right. We've had some pretty insane shit that we've gone over like before we start the show, and we try not to say a fucking word.
Yeah, and
it's written all over our face. We can read each other so well that it's
we know what the other one's gonna think. But we've definitely had some times where we've had whole podcasts before show start or after show start. So I try not to do anything, no contact with Joe. But I text Joe in the middle of this middle of these 3 episodes a couple times, like, holy shit! Exclamation point, exclamation point. I'm very sad that this season is going to end. So, and that's the thing. In this final episode, and we'll like I said, we'll talk about all 3 of these episodes, because I think all 3 of these episodes were stellar. But this final episode, the whole conclusion of this made me laugh, made me cry, made me feel intense. It brought me through every emotion. One, that I was upset that it was over, and finally one of these 13 episode seasons, especially when I'm going to binge watch this and re-binge watch this, every episode feels necessary. And I know we can have an argument or talk about the Karen episode, but I think all in all, it doesn't feel padded. The story ends at the perfect point. As much as I like the device, but it's an overused device, the big action happens in the second to last episode, and then we leave the final episode for cleaning up the mess. I like that this episode did everything in one episode. That was such a full, complete movie of a television episode, with a beginning, middle, and end of that whole storyline in that single episode. Forget the whole season. Episode 13 really encompassed one of all the best of this particular universe. And Wilson Fisk and Vanessa. Oh, I'm so glad Vanessa came back, and she is amazing. The actress that plays that character kills it in that role for me. Her hooking into Fisk is what was so cool to me and made sense and was a different take on that situation.
Dude, that fucking painting.
Dude, the painting.
The blood all over it at the end.
And it excited her.
Oh. Not even just the blood that what's his name left on the painting. The blood at the end of the episode, when Fisk is on his knees behind him, there's blood splattered all over that fucking painting.
Dude, I might have missed it. I can't wait for my rewatch.
All over it. It's so good. Like the subtext of that painting and the love and that behind it, and like just the how it was stolen, and that
all of that. Fucking God,
bloody painting at the end is so good.
Karen and Foggy stepped up at the end of this season too, and really made themselves worthy, as you know, of their Matt support structure. And then I'll even say, by the point of getting to the end of this episode and having her confront Matt, I still think the information we got in the Karen episode didn't have to be 3/4 of that episode, but I think the information we got was important to the development and the expanding of her and Matt's relationship. I personally saw some character growth in her by the end, when she realizes the good does outweigh the bad and all that sort of stuff. It's a simple arc, but she actually showed a little growth at the end of this season too. Sorry, Broken Joe. I think she showed a little bit, and Foggy did as well, and I liked all that. I would add secondary characters that I liked that were so minor but added so much. Obviously Matt's mom, and we've talked about her a lot, but the de facto Wesley, the Wilson Fisk's little his number one there, who reminded me of Alfred from Gotham, and he was excellent in that small little role. But let's give a little bit of attention to Dex, because he could have very easily have been a stupid character, Joe, this season. He could have easily been the guy from Mystery Men that threw spoons, like thanks. He could have been that kind of character, ridiculous, over the top. But instead, I feel like we got not exactly the same, but a T-1000 kind of situation in this season at times with him, where he had a sneaky intimidation factor, and he also did that insane shit really well, like when he went I'm going mad and doing that scanner shit when your head's gonna explode stuff really well. And his conclusion of the season, when he went all Norman Bates and just grabbed the fucking dead corpse of his girlfriend, not his girlfriend,
brought her along for the fucking ride. I was so hoping I was so hoping this might have been a little bit too dark for them to do, but he brought her that far, right? And then just leaves her in the garage. Dude, when Daredevil looked in that truck, I was so hoping she wasn't going to be there and that he was going to walk into that fucking wedding and like with his wife when they were dancing and be like, what do you say we join them, honey?
I was hoping for that too in a weird sadistic way, but it would have been a little too Norman Bates.
I think so too. I love the fact that he brought her with him.
Yeah, the fact that he brought her with him was just enough, that he didn't go far past that point. But that was hilarious when he showed up on the scene. It was incredible. Broke saying 9 out of 10 because of Karen. Raw, no condom this fucking season, but does agree that this is better than last season. That painting needed some color. Funny Foggy is the only one in the trio to get laid. And I like that they didn't go there far. They hinted at it sometimes with Matt and her, but they didn't. They did a Daredevil season with no romance, and I appreciate that. Whereas season 1 and season 2 were heavy on Rosario and then on Elektra and Karen. I like that they did Matt without a girl.
I was hoping he was going to hook up with the nun before we found out it was mom.
Oh, Joe.
And we could have found out it was mom. That would have been.
I think we all were. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, so let's go. Devin says, best villain in the show. Are you talking about Bullseye or Kingpin? Because it could be 1A or 1B.
Kingpin, hands down. Kingpin's
one of the best villains I've ever seen.
Any cinematic or he's fucking perfect.
I do have to, and I know this is gonna record scratch this in a second, but we did get an email from Jamie, who knows I am a Lost fan and sent me a video about Lost. And I do have to make note of, even if you think Lost is bad or went crazy, and I'm not comparing or saying 1A, 1B or something, but another villain that shares some similarities to some of Kingpin's tendencies, you could say, would be Ben Linus. And Ben Linus wasn't a very well done television villain. And this was I've been following for a while. I very much agree with you about Kingpin, but Ben Linus, Henry Gale is right up there too. And I will say, if we're making a rankings of orders, I'm not going to say what my order would be. I will say that I would allow Ben Linus in the conversation. I've watched Lost enough, and I know what he brought to that table, and he was a very well put together television villain, and that actor plays villain very well. But Kingpin for me is on another level. I think Kingpin is up there with like Hannibal Lecter villains on screen for me, like one of the best depicted. That last scene when the blood's all over his face, and and again, I don't want to get this. This will be a different episode, Joe. That's a good video. Joe and I will do best television villains.
I was definitely speaking in terms of comic book universe stuff, Marvel and DC, TV and movie.
But would you include Kingpin in for complete television villains?
Abso-freaking-lutely. Just the fact that he tops out the whole genre puts him in that discussion. I mean, how could it not? Like, he tops out I'm saying, like, across the DC television universe, across the Marvel television universe, Netflix universes, across the cinematic universes of both, just so well done. Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is just, it's marvelous when he puts that fucking rose on, when she leans over her shoulder and says, "I think the rose," and he puts it on and the outfit's fucking complete. Like,
yeah, it's there you go, Tim. You're happy now he's back. And Jamie Lannister. Been watching Devin, been watching you for about a year now. Great to see you. Great to have you in the live motherfucking chat. Great to have you in there. Lots of love, and thank you for checking us out. It means more than Joe and I can express to you without lubrication. So we really do appreciate that. But yeah, Jamie Lannister, greatest to ever go fire broke, you motherfucker.
Here's the thing. Now, I was thinking about Game of Thrones when I was saying that when you guys brought it past just the comic book, and I thought Game of Thrones villain, and then I was like, you know what? The villain and the menace in that is so broad right? Like there's so many.
Right. It's tough. I mean,
there's so much evilness in that show. Like,
and even with most of the evil or what could be considered evil characters, there's some redeeming value or some way you could argue that they weren't. There's very few just pure Joffrey out there. Or I mean, Joffrey would be probably the best example. Joffrey and Ramsay and Euron, I guess. Now,
they're not, but then again, like they're pure evil, but they don't rank amongst my top. And then,
Joffrey would be in a conversation for me.
Jamie brings it past Joffrey for me. Jamie's.
Oh, you're just trying. Now you're trying to troll me.
Child out a window, dude.
Now you're trying to troll me, you son of a fuck.
Yes, sister, that I'm having.
Oh, we're warming up, everybody. You like all these podcasts we've been doing? I'm gonna mute Joe in a second. You like all these podcasts we've been doing. We're gonna fill in this space. I think Joe and I both like talking more, so we're gonna maybe do some quick 20-minute Game of Thrones podcasts coming up.
Yeah, you probably would.
Kingpin would sit on the Iron Throne less than a week.
Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, right? It's like varies. All right, varies.
Oh, you're just saying varies because the way it looks.
Hold on, no. It's like varies, Baelish, and Robert Baratheon mixed in fucking one, or not fuck Robert. The mountain.
The mountain. Yeah.
The mountain. Like that. Dude, that's who you're dealing with right there. You're dealing with someone who has the cunning of Baelish, the brains of fucking Varys, and the strength of the fucking mountain. Like that's the Kingpin right there. He is an extremely intelligent, extremely strong, and extremely dangerous fucking personality type.
Devin says, "I love to see the Kingpin beat the shit out of Littlefinger." I think most people would. I like that we got that big action scene, and again, I think part of the reason why this season. And again, I'll be hyperbolic now. I'll make decisions. I'm with you guys. I like this season better because I think the way they dealt out I think season 1 has more tight, precise action scenes, and I think
they learned a lesson from season 2.
But they learned a lesson from season 2, and they really focused on the narrative of this season. Yep. And every action scene that comes is important. It means something to the plot of what's going on. It's not excessive action for too much like you get sometimes in season 2. I still love it, but it's season 2. It's you want the fight part. You watch season 2 of Daredevil and a lot of season 1.
They found a way in this season, which they hadn't been able to do in previous seasons of a couple of the shows now, is they found a way, like they did in season 1 of Jessica Jones as well, to make it about one villain in focal point. The way they're able to incorporate Bullseye and make him a part of the show and a secondary villain who is part of that same focal point is very well done. And it's what, in my mind, Luke Cage failed to do.
None of the other shows have been able to do that.
Exactly.
Some of them have created one great villain. I like, I'd say Luke Cage. I like both Mariah and Cottonmouth, but Cottonmouth isn't in enough of the season.
And they split it, and it's 2 different stories in one season.
Right.
And one focused story.
And the Westerosi Ninja says Kingpin versus Marcellus Wallace. Who wins? It's so funny. Every time I see the Kingpin, I imagine I think they could be 1A, 1B. I think but who would win that fight? I think Kingpin because he has superhero like power. He has like next level power.
And Brucey was holding his own.
Right, and Bruce was holding his own exactly. And we know that Butch is a boxer. But I think Kingpin would beat the fuck out of Butch.
Yes.
For whatever that's
and for whatever it's worth too, like as far as Bruce being kind of like the victor in that scene, there's very much a coin flip that happens.
Yes, exactly. I mean, when it really comes down to it, Bruce hadn't beaten anybody. It's some other thing comes into effect. And no spoilers if you've never seen.
Spoiler awards. There's a very nice place where you can put a watch. Other things get put.
Yeah, there's other things.
We're talking about wrists.
There's other things besides watches that could go there, Joe. You're correct. Kilgrave, still my second favorite villain. Marcellus Wallace has the wolf, though. He does have the wolf, and the wolf gets shit done.
Well, Marcellus has the wolf, but fucking Kingpin, as we learn, is one of those wolves who come and knock at your fucking door.
Yeah, Kingpin is a full service organization.
Right? That woman about the painting, she even calls him a wolf.
Yep. The Kingpin runs all. So let's get into recapping this these final 3 episodes, and we'll talk about the whole thing a little bit more, obviously. And let's do this because yeah, let's do it. The word recap it. Okay, we're gonna recap this shit. So I'm gonna zip through there again. Thank you to comingsoon.net. Please turn to coming. We don't have sponsors, but I'm stealing their fucking content. So thank you to comingsoon.net for the recap, so I can watch these episodes without having to write a recap. As I always say, if anyone wants me to recap a show some evening and wants to write out a recap of the episode and send it to me and go, oh, I know you watched this show. Hey, I'm always down to read your recaps. So and not type notes for myself. So thank you, comingsoon.net. Okay, so Daredevil season 3, episode 11. Daredevil sees Fisk as a free man. A judge overturns the conviction, freeing him from FBI custody. With his freedom officially restored, Fisk tracks down the current owners of the missing painting. The owner explains how the painting was stolen from her family and that Vanessa, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's a good scene, seeing the softer side of Fisk a couple times throughout.
That's not necessarily the softer side of Fisk. That's Fisk's twisted sense of love, right? Why he wants the painting is due to love, and why it's explained to him. It's not explained to him, I would never sell you the painting because of who you are, the wolf that you are, you evil fucking man. That is, of course, why I would never sell you the painting. But above and beyond that is the fact that this painting is one of the things that was stolen from my family when my father was murdered in front of me by the fucking Nazis when they came knocking at the fucking door. And it's because of that love of my family and remembrance of them that I want this and am keeping this, not because you're an evil son of a bitch. That's what turns Fisk, right? Because it's all about Fisk's love. His going after Daredevil is all about the threat he made about Vanessa.
Yep.
So, and his idea of Vanessa is that she is perfect and good, right? And why he wants to keep her hands clean and out of the shit. And so he believes that she would say, oh, in that case, you know, the painting, of course, should stay with you and your family. Out of love. A grand gesture of love.
To push it ahead and just ask you the question ahead of time, do you think Fisk likes the fact that Vanessa wants to know more, wants to indulge in this lifestyle? You think that look he gives at the end of the episode when she's like, no, tell me everything, is a I think it's, for me, I interpret it as a look of happiness of, oh wow, I get to have my
understanding.
What?
Of understanding that he knew that she was the one.
Yeah, exactly. She is the one. Exactly. I am marrying this girl. It all is going to work out. It was interesting to see him happy as we go into the live motherfucking chat right now. Our Red Sox fan, great to see you. Corey Mitchell says, great to see you reviewing something decent, albeit at a weird hour. What's up, our Red Sox fan? We got Travis. We got Tim's checking out. Good to see you, Tim. Shut the fuck up, Joe, and goodbye, Mr. Worf. Oh my goodness. Okay, so after the showdown, and I like how except for the example of going into the Karen episode, and it's okay to change things up, I like how this season never wastes any time. Right after the events of the last episode with Karen and Matt, they're immediately hiding in the church while Dex and Ray and the FBI square off with the NYPD over the crime scene. While hiding, Matt tells Karen that he gave up his one chance to kill Fisk in order to save her. It's a really good scene between Karen and Matt. I enjoy seeing these actors play together. She can fight his wise assness pretty damn well. Again, sorry for the Karen compliments, but I did not mind her in these 3 episodes. It was like I got overindulged by her in the last episode, and it's in these 3 episodes. I'm like, you know what? I like her when she's with Foggy and Matt, not necessarily on her own. So Karen tells Matt that she killed her brother in an accident and that she murdered Wesley. She tells Matt that killing someone changes who you are. So Maggie does the best. Maggie the nun does her best to hide Matt and Karen. Karen notices how Matt put up a wall between him and his mother. Karen tells Matt that's blah, 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 blubbity, blubbity, blubbity. I'm going to blah, blah that because not that it's bad scenes, but because we all know that Matt's going to forgive her by the end of the season. Did anyone think that by the end of the season, him and her would not be together? So this really has no relevance to long term. Yes, he accepted her in his life. She's his new father because the father gets killed. And Bam, 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 Bigelow, he's got his mom in his life. You know, there's nothing more to talk about that relationship right there, really. I thought it was well done, but it's paint by numbers a little bit with that. You knew where that was going to go the whole time.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. And
why it's all so boring.
What was that?
That's why it's all so boring.
Oh my gosh.
It really is. Like, that's the boring part of the shit. Like, we like get us back to the main story, please.
But it's all part of the main story in a sense. It's
yeah. She gives him the idea during this. She gives him the idea to get Foggy down there, turn her in. He escapes, and blah blah.
I love when I'm gonna 1 week. I definitely want to make the
carry shit. Okay, listen, dude. Those red, puffy, fake, not even puffy eyes. The always fucking. I can't with her. Every time she's on screen, she ruins. She's a ruiner. She's a ruiner. It started way back in season 1. Like, watch her every fucking scene she's in. Like, she's doing exactly the opposite of what she's been asked or told to do. Right? Oh, you know, and I don't like the character at all.
Corey Mitchell says it started. Corey Mitchell says it started in True Blood.
It did start. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to be too bad.
And Corey Mitchell also asked if I've seen Castlevania on Netflix. I have not watched it, as I do have a natural aversion to anime that I need to get over, but I will try to check it out at some point because I do love Castlevania, and I've heard amazing things about it. So Joe, have you watched that?
Nope.
No, but and again, I've been waiting for an opportunity to get my friend Evan King Baby Duck back on the podcast. So perhaps I can watch that and get him on, because that's both video games and anime. So yeah, let me contact Evan, and maybe that'll be good to get. You know, he can be my first guest in the new studio doing a Castlevania review. Okay, so let's continue. I have a lot of Netflix shit to catch up on when we get to the new studio. I still want to do House on Haunted Hill. I want to talk about when I finish Sabrina, and so all of those I'm going to end up talking about once I'm finished with the seasons. And if Joe watches any of those, he's welcome to join me as well. But okay, so Dex begins to have a really well done psychotic episode over his frustrations of losing Matt in karaoke. Siska's gonna be so mad at me. Now Dex orders Ray to take over the crime scene from the NYPD. The FBI searches the church grounds, but Maggie continues misdirection, keeps the agency from finding Matt and Karen. Whenever Ray tries to call off the search, Dex reminds him that they come back. Fisk empty.
Kingpin will kill your family.
And Theo presses Foggy to walk back his criticism of Fisk. Okay, then his family is going to get fucked up, but no, his family ends up fine. Karen surrenders herself to the NYPD, who has jurisdiction over the FBI. It's a really cool scene.
Can we just, okay, so at some point in the next 3 episodes, Foggy's family's fine.
Yes.
Nothing happens to Foggy's family.
Nothing happens to Foggy's
family. Skip that. Anytime like it goes to Foggy and his family from this point on in the next 3 episodes, skip it. We don't. It doesn't need to be mentioned. Nobody gives 2 shits. Like, really, like, it was a plot device used.
Wait, Joe. Foggy has a family?
Right. Foggy has a family. Big deal. Like, of course his family is going to.
The only way I would have cared. This is my last one of these. The only way I would have given a shit if Foggy had a family, if his whole family was made up of the Mighty Duck actors. Like, you bring back Pasty from Dawson's Creek. You bring back Emilio. You bring back Goldberg. They're all still working. You bring back the Mighty Ducks and their Foggy's family. I would go for it.
Then you can bring it in.
That being said,
one of family's in another state somewhere else too. Who gives a shit?
Foggy's brother reminded me a little bit of Don Log or whatever his name is there from Gotham and Vikings. But
Don Log.
Don Log, yeah. Yeah, Don's got a big log there. He's got some.
Put your log all over it, man.
He's hanging his log all over.
Logie.
So people are saying, yeah, both great shows, and Sabrina's better. Yeah, Sabrina, I've only watched like 2 episodes, and it's better, and that's the exact way I would describe it. It's better than I thought it was going to be. It gives me a little bit of that old Buffy charmed feel to it. So but I haven't watched enough of it to make a real assessment of it. It's campy, it's over the top, and it's also satisfying in the first couple of episodes. But whatever. That's a different show. So Ray's conscience and Maggie's words cause Ray to help Brett get Karen out. Before returning home, Ray tells his family to pack his bags. Matt arrives to tell Ray to get his family to come on. So basically he shows Ray that he's Daredevil, and that's the end of that episode. The next episode has Matt, Foggy, Brett, and Ray's family are moving into homes till they can get Ray's family safe out of the country. After a gunfight in Ray's home in the previous episode, Matt is resigned to handling this Foggy's way with the confines of the law. Okay, so this episode deals with them all trying to, and instead of taking this point for point in this thing, let's just talk about what this, now that I know what this episode is. Basically, this episode deals with them bringing Ray to justice, getting him to turn state's evidence, which all ends up with the Kingpin getting to the fucking jury, Joe. He gets to the jury, and it all ends up being for naught.
Joe, what?
Oh, did you think for a second that this was going to work? I'm saying, like, the Kingpin ultimately gets to the jury. This whole episode is one of those episodes that happens in these series where you think they're getting one on the Kingpin. You think that there's a chance that the good guys are going to have 2 steps forward, but they don't realize that the Kingpin has one up on them the whole time. And even though they get Ray to turn state's evidence, he gets in on the grand jury, and the Kingpin is all encompassing. Great fucking stuff. And I kind of agree with Joe. I give no fucks about the family. When Fisk brought them up, I was worried, but when Matt got evidence on Fisk, fuck the family again, says broke. Howling Wolf says, I think Fisk latched onto Vanessa for the same reason Dex latched onto that girl. It was them finding a balance to themselves who they could never be. And I think especially, I think you're absolutely right. That's a good parallel between those two characters. Howling Wolf. Isn't there? There's a bar around us called the Howling Wolf, I believe.
Is there?
I think so. I think it's in Salem. So Ray agrees to the deal. Matt and Ray are attacked on their way out of the courthouse, which is a really good fight scene, action scene.
To the courthouse.
Yeah, when they get attacked, and Matt is leading Ray, being his radar, his video game
non-seeing eye dog.
Yeah. Basically, he's his mini map from video games in that scene where he's telling him, "Oh, there's a guy behind that bush over there. This guy over here. This guy over here." I thought this was a really interesting way of a different way of showing off Matt's powers, and that's another thing about Daredevil through 3 seasons of it, and I would add a big chunk of the Defenders. They find new, interesting ways to show off Matt's abilities and not making it have to excessively up his abilities in every situation. Sometimes in television shows, it's every time it's, we got to up the powers. We got to up the powers to make it so you know what he can do. But in this, they just find new, interesting ways of showing off what he can do. And I like to see him being this guy is seeing eye dog, essentially. It's like Matt is the seeing eye Daredevil here.
It's amazing. I thought it was a great scene. Shoot right there, shoot right there. Now shoot right here.
No, listen to me. You want to live? Fucking listen to me. Stop being an asshole.
He gets out of the van. He's like, oh my God.
Yep. And again, all of this ends up being for naught, though. We get back with Vanessa meeting back up in New York. Fisk attempts to impress Vanessa with luxury, but she doesn't want any of this. Vanessa tells Fisk that for 2 years she was alone and she's blah, 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 blah. Again, I'm just blah, blah, blahing because we already talked about this. Ultimately, it gets to the point where Vanessa says, listen, if you want me in your life, you need to let me in your life all the way. I don't want you to, I'm no fucking Kay from the Godfather. I don't want to be Carmela, and I'm smarter than fucking Skylar. Get me in here. I'm what's her name from Ozarks. Like, get me on the team here, coach. I know I'm just as fucking talented as you. I may even be more ruthless than you, as we find out later. She knows how to pull the trigger even quicker, which could have been seen as a mistake, but whatever. Either way, she knows she's in on this all the way, and that's what it ends up being. Dex attempts to apologize to Fisk for Karen, and Matt and Ray all excluding them. Dex blames Ray for the whole thing and says that he will handle it. Fisk tells Dex not Two, that clearly Dex isn't ready to handle his business as he plays another manipulation tactic on him just to get him more inspired. In an effort to prove his worth, Dex kills the elderly woman with the painting that Fisk wanted to return, telling Vanessa that he did it and he's the new Wesley. When asked about Dex, Fisk tells Vanessa that Dex is not that, as you can see for the first time. Vincent D'Onofrio has so many shades, Joe, as this character. And when he can, and he plays this almost Professor X-like way. And again, I'm comparing to him to another bald guy, I guess, where you can see one side of his mind working while the other side's doing something else. And he's taking all this information that Vanessa's telling him about Dex and going, oh shit, this kid might be, this might end up a problem. This guy's a little weird, isn't he? He's a little cable guy here.
Dude, Fisk beating that dude's brains, the FBI agent's fucking head in the fucking.
I forgot about that. Pass me your jacket, Joe.
Jacket. Excuse me. Give me your jacket. It's so good. Pull over. Get rid of the body.
It reminded me a little bit, not in the same way. Anyone want to see a magic trick? It was just like, okay. Let me put your fucking head
person into a pool of pudding.
Yep. Totally. It's just that one. But it's Robert De Niro walking around the Untouchables and just beating the shit out of someone with a baseball bat out of nowhere. I mean, even that's a little bit more prodding, but it was a scene like that. It was just great to. It was great to see that kind of turn with the Kingpin, because we know he's been holding it inside all season. To just see it explode there at that point was just incredible.
Yeah.
So the end of this episode, Fisk tells Vanessa that Dex is not that, knowing that his family would not be safe. Ray knocks out Foggy at the courthouse and returns home, where he records a message for his wife and soon on his cell phone. Ray is standing in the yard drinking when Dex comes home. This is a great fucking scene too, and draws his gun on him. Ray attempts one last time to get Dex to join him.
He's in the pool.
And flip, but Dex says he feels more like himself than ever, all thanks to Fisk's. Dex tries to get Ray to go inside, where Dex kills him in private, but Ray makes Dex shoot him where he stands by basically killing himself and knowing that he set it up. Joe, I feel like we need to not in the Talking Dead way where we play some, we play some sad music like this.
Let's say goodbye to.
I feel like we need to say a goodbye to Dex. I mean to Ray. No, Ray is a character that may get forgotten about through the years, but I think he was integral to the success of this season and did a really fucking great job, Joe.
He did a decent job. He wasn't my favorite part. It was adequate. He got the job done. He didn't ruin any of the scenes for me.
But
he didn't carry the shit up.
He didn't Karen this shit up. Is that an activator now? Is that a verb? Is Karening shit up? Is like Munson? Are we taking from Kingpin? Are we connecting this? I know what you're doing now. From Kingpin, a Munson is now renamed a Karen.
Correct.
Wow, I think we're on to something here. Let's go to the live chat. I thought he just beat the shit out of the woman with the painting. Daredevil costume reminds me of what's his face from Mortal Kombat. Daredevil is going Super Saiyan, dude, go gadget. Okay, so our final episode, where we already talked about a lot of this, but let's just zip through this one more time. Fisk formalizing his newfound understanding and relationship with Vanessa after she told him that she wanted to be involved in every part of his life. Fisk, in the previous episode, Fisk summons the most influential people in the city to his rooftop wedding to Vanessa in reception. Great wedding, great scene in the hotel ballroom. With Ray discredited and his grand jury testimony sealed, Daredevil is blamed for setting it all up and running a smear campaign against Fisk, and everything that happens appears to be going Fisk's way. This is what I mean. This whole episode is in of itself a little movie. Dex receives a call from Matt using Felix's phone. Matt tells Dex that he's coming for him in his suit. Max taunts him using the information he learned from therapy tapes that he stole from Dex's apartment. For the final straw, Matt tells Dex that Fisk had Julie killed, which is, again, if I have to take my little stupid credit, I think I called that Matt would use this information to set Dex against Fisk. I didn't know where they were going to go with this, but sets him to a freezer where the body is.
That's
I have to call bullshit on this to a certain extent.
that's okay. So we saw.
Wouldn't Fisk be smart enough to just
No,
destroy the body?
no, and I'll tell you why. We see exactly. So Daredevil hangs the dude off the roof, right? Like dislocates his fucking hip, his knee, probably when he throws him off the roof with that just fucking rope. And the guy gives up Fisk to Daredevil. Whatever he wants to know, I'll give you something better. And he tells him about Dex's, and that's the guy that's been taking care of shit for Kingpin. Now, when they framed Nadeem, after they kill Nadeem, they frame him for the FBI agent's murder, whose body is subsequently found at the same time in the Hudson River.
So he's keeping them.
Keeping the bodies. They'll be able to frame probably Dexter later with that body, should they ever need to.
Perfect. Right? No, and it's because he always wants to have a backup plan.
Correct.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
He's in a freezer of a restaurant that's out of use. The only piece of power working is the fucking freezer in the corner. The rest of the place is locked up, abandoned building.
Yeah, he's got a million of those.
Right, exactly. There's probably like 6 other freezers in the city.
Yeah, with all the people that have just pissed him off at dinner or something. And I also like how we saw a flash of him as a kid here and there.
Oh my god.
It was so freaky, dude. It reminded me of Friday the 13th. It
reminded me of the twins, man. The Shining Twins.
Oh, the Shining Twins. That's even better. That was
so good. Suddenly, on his wedding night, he's getting ready for his fucking wedding. And he sees an image of himself with a bloody hammer of him that he used to kill his father with. It was quick. It was like, where did that come from? What am I looking at? Wait, oh my God, that's him as a kid.
And it's, again, those things are believable in the sense when you really do have flashes like that or quick thoughts. It's a quick thought. You're not suddenly hanging out in the dream and just walking through a winter wonderland when you're having a flashback. Or it was very believable and it was really effective. And it starts the scene off to get things really get into a weird episode in a good way. Dex goes to the hotel dressed in a Daredevil suit and crashes Fisk's reception to those in attendance to hear Ray tape testimony against Fisk. Dex takes out the FBI agents protecting Fisk. Dex is the targets Vanessa, and after learning that Fisk had Julie killed, Daredevil, Fisk, and Matt fight throughout the hotel in Fisk's apartment, with Fisk breaking Dex's back in a huge fight. And I love this fight. And a lot of the beginning part is Matt protecting Vanessa and Vanessa not leaving because she's enjoying watching the violence. And Kingpin, it's just such an interesting fight with 3 unique styles, and it all works. It's all filmed so well. And before Joe, I want to hear you rail on shaky cams more. No shaky cam. Everything is so clear. It's almost a shock to the system. And when they do use it for occasionally just to show an explosion, like just a quick earthquake effect when Fisk punches something to show how powerful he is or something, it's not during the fights. But these fight scenes are so clear. I don't even know how I could rank the fight scenes of this season, but I'm just gonna say for now, this was my favorite one. I fucking love this fight.
So good, made me jump up on my fucking feet when Daredevil walked in, when not Daredevil, wow, Bullseye walked in and threw that thing. Oh, I was ready for it. This was fucking awesome. This was absolutely fucking
this amazing. Is how you do a boss fight.
This was Matt Murdock was focused on killing Kingpin, right? And then Bullseye focused on killing
Vanessa,
Kingpin's wife, Vanessa, so Kingpin can watch. With also, hey, if I have to kill you first, I will, because you'll know that your wife had to watch you die before I killed her.
And essentially, Kingpin in that situation, all Kingpin and Matt care about is let us fucking fight. I love that. I love how when they see each other, it's almost like two. And I don't like, again, when you deal with a comic book property, and takes itself seriously, you also need to know the moments when you're a comic book property. And that moment was very professional wrestling in the best possible way, when the two opponents face off each other and they just want to beat the living shit out. It reminded me also of that movie Barfly, or Roddy Piper in They Live. They see each other and they just want to beat the shit out of each other, and you believe it. It doesn't matter. It's television, it's movies, it's not real life. It's fun, and they're gonna kick the piss out of each other, and it was perfect.
See, I agree that, okay, so when Daredevil shows up at first in the suite to fight Kingpin, right? I agree that they're like, okay,
they scream at each other. They're like, ah.
Right? But when Bullseye shows up that second time and again throws something at Vanessa and it's blocked by Murdock, now Kingpin's entire focus becomes getting fucking Bullseye dead.
Right. It does shift.
The immediate threat to his wife, and he sees that even though Daredevil's trying to kill me, so I have to defend myself against him and kill him doing so, I have to kill Bullseye first, because Daredevil is not going to kill my wife.
Dude, and he'll actually protect her. He noticed that he was protecting her.
Right. So,
and I love
focus. So it's this triangle. It's just Murdock trying to kill Kingpin, Kingpin trying to kill Bullseye, Bullseye trying to kill Vanessa, and Vanessa just standing there
with like me,
like destroyed,
like me with my mouth open like this.
Yes, exactly like that. Me too, dude. I got up off my fucking couch. Like they both yell, right? That primal yell, Kingpin, Daredevil, and I was like, oh,
it's on, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, yes, scream, attack, clap.
This whole season, and we have a lot of really awesome live chat. We'll get to all you guys before we call this. It was so, the whole season was this foreplay, was this edging us out to explode at this point in time in the season. And they come at each other. And then once he breaks Dex's back, Bullseye's back, and they just turn to each other like he's dead now. We got to get back at this. And there's just no hesitation as they just come right back at each other and get that huge fucking fight until Matt beats the living piss out of him to the point where Kingpin has assessed that I can no longer win this fight. With Dex incapacitated, Matt gains the upper hand and pummels Fisk, stopping only when Vanessa pleads with Matt not to kill him. Fisk taunts Matt, telling Matt that he'll never stop trying to kill Karen and Foggy. And he's like, Vanessa, shut up. I'm going to fucking kill this guy. I don't give a fuck. And Matt delivers the ultimatum, saying as long as Fisk stays away from Matt and his friends, or Matt delivers,
stays in jail and stays away from the three of them, then good. We're all set. Don't worry about Vanessa. I won't come after her.
Exactly. And
did you see that fucking chimney dude when he broke Daredevil's back on the corner of that fucking
dude? He punched it. Yeah.
And the corner was missing. Like, fucking so good.
It was so sick. Let's take some live chat for that. Daredevil costume reminds me. Let's go back. Atari Dad. I love all the mob bosses. Atari Dad. I like the focus on all the different ones, the different styles. They're very comic book, and I enjoy it. Too easy for him to give up the information, though he was more trustworthy. Did anyone else have that? Anyone else had that scene where they had Daredevil in the back of the taxi instead of killing him when they did that James Bond supervillain part? Let's drive him to the harbor. Oh, Howling Wolf erased some messages I wanted to read. Copy paste that, Howling Wolf. I missed your message. Watching the show proves how Arrow could have been 10 times better if not on the CW. I think constantly watching these episodes make me feel bad for Stephen Amell that he didn't get cast in one of these shows. That Stephen Amell should have been the Iron Fist and Loris should have been forced to be on Arrow. It's a shame. Because I definitely, the best part of all of those shows, and I don't want to get another Joe CW rant here, is Stephen Amell playing the Arrow. That guy's a good actor when he's given good material, and he plays the character well. And it's a shame he has to be on that show sometimes. Anyways, Howling Wolf says, what would be the reason for Fisk just to keep the dead bodies in the freezer? That part made no sense to me, especially someone who has been convicted of such atrocities. Felt like just for plot convenience. Joe mentioned that a little bit, but explain a little bit more what you
like. He used the other body we saw, or person we saw killed, the other FBI agent from the Office of Integrity or whatever he fucking was from. that Nadeem's boss shot to frame Nadeem with. He was found in the river in that episode when Fisk went after they kill Nadeem and set Nadeem up for the murder-suicide of this other guy. So that's why he's freezing bodies. He'll be able to use, again, maybe Dex's little girl's their body by framing Dex later if he needs to.
Right. He wanted to have the king. Basically, I think the answer, he always wants to have leverage. And I think if anything is Kingpin's weakness is his ego, to think he has such control over the city that he can be in your face about what he does and no one can fuck with him because he has so many, because it's basically his city. You know, he has FBI agents guarding it that don't allow the cops to come in there or something, for whatever it's worth. I think it shows how egotistical the Kingpin is to think that anyone could possibly stop him more than anything. And I do notice how Luke Cage was not one of the crime bosses, probably because he knew he couldn't get him in there. Probably because, he didn't want him. He's too scared of Luke. Corey says, it's like, here's this great show and premise, but you're on the CW, motherfucker. Poor Stephen Amell. Again, poor Stephen Amell. He's almost a pro wrestler. Bro hates that Fisk gave up, but I hate that Fisk gave up, but I like that Fisk gave up. He was really beat at that moment, bleeding out, and would do anything for Vanessa, so it made sense to the character. Absolutely.
To the midsection, two of them from Bullseye. So
yeah, he was fucked. He knew he needed to give up. He lost that fight. He was in a dangerous situation. But if Vanessa wasn't there, he would have given Matt up and done exactly what he did. And I tend to think in a season 3, Vanessa's not long for this world, and Matt's safety isn't long for this world. He didn't promise not to kill Matt. He promised to keep away from Foggy and Karen and not.
He knows that. Listen, he even said it at the beginning of the season. If it weren't for your threat to go putting Vanessa behind bars for my crimes, then I wouldn't have ever
given myself up. Yeah.
I could have forgiven what you did to me. I would have moved on from you. Big deal. I was still running shit. I was about to get out. I was about to work my way through this fucking prison to begin with. But you threatened her, so you're dead. He saw that he was actively trying to not let her die, right? And he saw that Bullseye was actively trying to kill her. And we see that Bullseye is not dead at the end, that Bullseye's spine is being fucking repaired, right? So that his spine is definitely broken and crushed. Vertebrae are disintegrating as they're trying to fix this guy, right? This dude's back. It's lucky it wasn't like he's lucky he didn't fold in half and completely die with ruptured internal injuries and die on the floor there. The fact that he was probably like held together in that suit is the only thing that
there's some vibraniums holding him together or something,
right?
like that.
Like the impact, like if you saw the wall, it was on the corner of the wall. These bricks were fucking fully crumbled. It was amazing. So so when he comes back for season 3, Kingpin's only focus is going to be get rid of Bullseye, who wants to kill Vanessa.
And as Legendary Milk added, and Karen, which is going to force Matt and the Kingpin to have to work together to stop this fucker, and force Kingpin to go to Matt to be like, you need to stop him. Get your suit on. Stop this fucker. Dude, blah, 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 blah. What are you doing letting him get away? You need to protect Vanessa or I'm going to give up your secret.
Yeah, I think we don't even see. I don't think that happens again. I think maybe if we get more Kingpin, if we get more
Joe, shut up. Okay, so we're at the end here.
Season 5.
Will we get another one of these? It's so scary to me because I was going to talk about this at the end, but I guess this is the natural point to talk about this. I'm so concerned with Disney taking over streaming. Does Netflix get to keep Daredevil with them canceling all the rest of these series? Are they going to keep Daredevil, and are we going to get more seasons of Daredevil? Is this the last time we ever see Vincent D'Onofrio playing the Kingpin?
The way they probably have their contract written for these is that as long as they keep making the content, they're allowed to keep them. And I think they thought, you know what, with the ratings that we got for these other shows, I don't think they're going to continue to climb. They won't climb. They probably won't stay the same. They're going to fall next season and the season after and the season after. So let's write those off now. They're not going to be a draw for new subscribers, and the ones
we can
that
do
are already subscribed are going to stay anyway.
And we could theoretically do a 3 or 4 episode arc, Hero for Hire mini series, or a 6 episode
if they don't do it in time.
Yeah.
Like when they make movies, like when they buy content for movies now, I know like Pacific Rim was one of these. So they do Pacific Rim and it doesn't do well, but they want to do a second movie. So they allow for the making of Atlantic Rim, which is a piece of shit, like, triple B movie that you can find out there. And that's basically serves as a part 2 to Pacific Rim. So the studio can hold on to the content and then put out an actual number 2 Pacific Rim later on when they're ready to do so. They do it a lot. They'll do stuff like that. They'll make a small cartoon movie that nobody ever hears of with some like animators and just box it and throw it out on DVD just so the studio can hold on to the rights. But Netflix probably won't do that with those. They'll probably just keep making Daredevil and Jessica Jones and write those off and let those other characters go back to their new owners.
Yeah, I mean, we did get a Jessica Jones reference in this episode. He when he was talking about Karen, he said, "You're more stable than Jessica Jones," which I thought was a funny line. The Doctor at the end is the same from Weapon X, just for your information. Vibranium is back. Wakanda forever. If there is a season 4, Netflix is being dumb. If there is a season 4, Netflix is being dumb right now. Vincent D'Onofrio loves playing the Kingpin. He'll come back if he's able to. He even wants to be in Spider-Man. I would not mind seeing a crossover with Vincent D'Onofrio being in a Spider-Man movie or having Spider-Man somehow connected to this. I guess the question I'm asking, or the hope, does anyone think this is the last time we see Vincent D'Onofrio playing the Kingpin?
No,
I disagree. I'm not disagree. I agree. I don't think there's any way. Even if we never see another season of Daredevil, is this the last time we see Matt Murdock or Charlie Cox playing Daredevil? Will there be a season 4?
No way. There will be a season 4, and I can't wait to see who they bring in to be the bad guy, because I don't think that when Bullseye is convalesced, right, when he's back to himself,
it's not going to be as simple as just him. Yeah,
he'll be ready to do this. Like, he's going to have to be on the run from Kingpin.
Yeah, it's going to be a side story. Have they announced another season of The Punisher yet? I am not sure if they've announced it, but
we know that's happening.
We know that's happening. And would we like to see Bullseye and the Punisher? Bullseye as a Punisher adversary?
Oh, that would be sweet. But I gotta say, I gotta give that shit to the fucking Punisher. I gotta give that shit hands down. I don't know if they ever clash in the books. I'm sure they do it.
I'm sure they do, but I will give it to the Punisher as well. But it would be interesting to see if say Bullseye just have some crossover. Bullseye kills Karen, and Matt's like,
for him.
And then Frank says, "Matt, you can't handle the situation," and Frank steps in.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, but whatever. Now I'm just hoping
Punisher, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones are the only 3 that I care about at this point. Fuck Avengers. Fuck Luke. Fuck Iron Fist. These 3 are definitely the best of the bunch.
Forrest says, "I am late, but you are not. But we're still here to say hi to you right now. Great to see you, Forrest." Howling Wolf says, "I wonder how Trish on Jessica Jones would fare against Dex now. He probably whoop her ass in the comics. Bullseye has adamantium implants, so we're seeing something similar for this version." Okay, so adamantium, that Wolverine's claws are made of, is getting put into Dex theoretically. That's why someone said it's the same doctor as the Weapon X, so that could be some connection there, and it could go. They probably will be going in that direction. Broke says Jessica Jones is greater than Karen. That's what should have been the response, Matt. That's what Foggy should have said. But come on, how awesome would it have been if he said, "But by the way, I'm sorry, Karen. We want to add you here, but we really need to fire you and add Jessica Jones instead. She's much better. She's much better." And I very much loved Bullseye, and I look forward to see his character moving forward.
Yes.
Will they get Ghost Rider? There's been talk about doing a Ghost Rider. The problem with Ghost Rider is Nick Cage is like, if there's a Ghost Rider, I'm still playing it. No one's playing Ghost Rider.
I'm not going to say that Ghost Rider 1 was an awful movie. But
they're fun in that Nick Cage fun way. I enjoyed Ghost Rider 1.
yeah, most people didn't.
I thought it was funny. But I find I'm a Nick Cage like
Spawn-like story as well. Of course,
Face Off is one of my favorite movies of all time. Just to watch Nick Cage act like crazy. It's not one of my favorites.
Shut up.
It's not one of my favorites.
Shut the fuck up, Phil.
Shut the fuck up, Phil. Okay, so Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has a Ghost Rider. I didn't keep up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, so at the end of the episode, Matt meets with the nun and decides that she's his new Father Lantham and it's going to be his moral compass. We have the funeral, which made me teary-eyed a little bit as Matt says goodbye to the father. And then we get back at the Nelson meets as Matt and Karen and Foggy are at the retirement party. Foggy delivers the news that the parents are not going to be charged with a crime, and they decide to start another business together. And
best investigator that's not a fuck up like Jess Jones.
Exactly.
I like the call out there.
Yeah, I did like the call out that Jessica Jones is unstable. It was good. It was good. And it makes me think that we'll see them together again at some point.
Oh yeah, next season of Jessica Jones is going to bring the Murdock in.
I hope so because they have really good chemistry too, and them interacting was my favorite part of Defenders because of like they split them in twos in different groups, and I always loved the Matt and Jessica scene because their personalities are extremely hilarious together. So, and that's basically the end of the season. The Kingpin is in jail. Vanessa's out. Foggy and Matt and Karen are starting another business. Dex is getting adamantium put into his spine and turned into full-on bullseye because his eyes turned into a bullseye. And that's pretty much it. The season wraps up in a nice little bow, but also sets things forward for future events. I tend to agree with Joe that we're only going to get Jessica Jones and Daredevil seasons. I don't think the Heroes for Hire thing is really going to happen. And who knows, the next season of Jessica Jones might be the last one too. I keep imagining that might be canceled as well, but I think we'll get one more season of Jessica Jones.
I've heard if Jessica Jones was getting canceled, they already would have called that out with the others.
They would have done it around the same time. And I do think we're going to get another season of The Punisher and move forward with these Netflix shows in a certain way. Do I think that the timing of announcing when those shows were canceled was perfect for the ratings and the excitement and the buzzworthy aspect of Daredevil season 3? No. Do I think some people are probably sleeping on Daredevil season 3 because they consider this universe dead? Yes, I do. And do I think this was maybe the best of all of these seasons? Right up there with Punisher, Daredevil 1, Jessica Jones 1. It's all arguable depending on what your taste is and depending on what your focus is. This is right up there. And I would say I could even argue that this is clearly better. This from beginning to end is such a tight narrative. Yeah. And we're coming off watching being fanboys of Vince Gilligan, and I'm about to talk about it here if anyone knows what I'm about to talk about. Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould and the whole Better Call Saul thing. And this show is right up there as one of the best shows this year with me, with Better Call Saul. At the end of the year, when Joe and I do our list of our top 5 favorite shows of the year, I'm going to have trouble deciding between Better Call Saul and this season of Daredevil. And did Cobra Kai come out this year too? Yes. Or was that last year? And Cobra Kai is still alive. And I really loved Glow this season too. So I'm not saying that all of those are all
really good. Those are all really good.
Those might be my list in some particular order, and I have to think of. And I would probably put Westworld in there, not just to piss you off because I enjoyed it, but and I'm sure you would have 1 or 2 shows in there that I wouldn't have in there as well. But I think the ones I mentioned that you and I both agree on, I think is going to be our big test. But I would say this is right in the conversation of one of my favorite shows this season. And as being tight put together, this season from beginning to end is the best of these. There wasn't a wasted moment except for maybe the Karen episode. And I think Joe said it in a comment to somebody else that said, "Oh, I thought you guys weren't. I watched this episode and you guys aren't feeling the season." No, we're feeling the season. Just watching one episode of a time makes you hyper focus on, I want to get to the next one. And there's a couple points where I think Joe and I were both getting the bends kind of, where we're like, I don't want to do this one episode at a time.
That's why we just did the last 3 all at once. And it's definitely, you can definitely feel when you did it, and we were kind of wondering about this, which is why we did it this way. When we watched them one episode at a time, Netflix has definitely had these made to be burned through all at once, all within a day.
And you absorb some of those middle episodes without even remembering it.
Right. They're your bathroom breaks. I'm gonna go run into the kitchen, or
your text breaks,
up your phone and shit. Like it's exactly what I would have done during the Karen episode if I had been
snapping and you're chatting and you're posting, you're watching parties, that sort of shit.
Right. It would have been an episode I didn't pause if I had to leave the room or anything like that. If I had to leave my house, yes, but not if I had to leave the room. TV is usually up loud enough where if I had to go out.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I watch things I get shit done while the television's on, and I'm doing other things all around. Ghost Rider 2 was maybe the worst superhero movie of all time. It's pretty fucking bad. It's definitely in that conversation. I've never seen past season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I hear the fanboys say that they have Ghost Rider. Wesley Snipes is in talk of Marvel about 2 projects, and at least one of them is Blade. I hope so. I think in the early time of superhero properties, Blade was one of the first good ones, and I couldn't imagine anyone else besides Wesley playing Blade while he's still alive. He's one of those guys that Wesley Snipes is, when he's perfect for a role, is a very talented dude. And I think Blade is one of those examples where mixing his martial arts skills and his sort of wise assery really, really fit in. I'd like to see another version of Blade.
Rogan was supposed to have a fight in the ring at some point.
What was that?
He and Joe Rogan was supposed to have a fight.
Like a real fight? Rogan would fuck him up, right?
What's that?
Rogan would probably fuck him up, right?
So it was like when he just got out of prison and shit, he was trying to get his career back on track. It was pre that Sylvester Stallone movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, like back in the prime. I mean, Wesley Snipes was a real well-trained martial artist,
right?
But I think at this point, after years, Rogan's more day-to-day training.
Well, Rogan's been fighting since he was like a teenager,
and he's more in it. But he's like where Wesley's sort of been
right. But so this is also, you got to figure, this is also a few years ago too, but Joe Rogan was like, let's do this on that.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
And Wesley just kept pushing it off, and
exactly. Rogan
all this shit, and then he got I believe he got the role.
Joe, do you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the time that you challenged an NBA basketball player to a one-on-one contest.
Yeah.
Yes, and the person gave you their business card and said, "Come to the arena and play me." And Joe made up some excuse. Well, I can't get a ride. Then our friend's like, "We'll drive you." He's like, "I don't know. I don't want to go. I don't want to go."
I would have loved him.
Yeah. You were letting him off the hook. Broke says Jessica Jones season 3 is in production. Thank you, so fucking great. Bring back Blade. Blade Trinity was the only bad one, and it wasn't bad because of Wesley. And yeah, I love to see Wesley back in that kind of context. So I guess let's wrap things up. I do want to mention something here that has nothing to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Netflix. Yes, I should make a video about this on its own, but I want to get a little bit more information about it before I do. But obviously, with what kind of a fanboy I am and what kind of channel this started as, I have to mention it and have to talk about it. There was this week an announcement that AMC said, or Vince Gilligan put out, that there is in works a 2-hour Breaking Bad movie. That there's not much information about when, whether it happens after the events of Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad post Gene, or that Gene might be in it, or that Jesse's in it. Maybe the success of Better Call Saul inspired Vince to make a movie. Perhaps there was also an announcement at AMC this week, and this is important because it's relevant to this, that Walking Dead is going to be doing these movies. So is this going to be an AMC movie, or is this going to be in the theater movie? I tend to think it's going to be, they're talking about an AMC movie, which is where the confusion's lying. Which I like, because instead of it's because Vince has an idea for a 2-hour Breaking Bad story, not a full series, and AMC is allowing them or changing the order of business, probably trying to evolve, because television series and these long are becoming a thing to itself. So they're trying to innovate to the next thing and bring back the miniseries movie or something. And
which has been missing from television for a long time now.
And Whereas before, at a point in time, you would say that in the 90s or in the 80s, or except for sitcom television, that television was where lame shit happened, so to speak. And then with shows like The Sopranos and Oz and St. Elsewhere, whatever, transitioned that into this era of television we're in now. Perhaps Vince Gilligan, perhaps even The Walking Dead, or not perhaps Vince Gilligan, and perhaps even The Walking Dead, if they bring in some interesting writers, or what's happening with The Sopranos as well, I've in talks. And also this week got announced that there's being just started this week, or the Deadwood movie being produced for HBO. So they're doing a fucking Deadwood movie now, and God fucking damn it, I'm excited about fucking that, motherfuckers. So is this going to be a new theme where some old show creators see the success of this era of television and go, wait, we want to make stuff in this, but we don't want to do the same old shit? Are they going to try to do something new? And I think that's what Vince is trying to do here. No, I don't want to do a whole series. I want to do a movie or something. And AMC's maybe pushing them in that direction. Either way, I'm excited about this. A lot of people are, Vince Gilligan's working on it. I'm okay with it. That's all. He has never given me, and yes, I'm a fanboy. You want to see what a fanboy looks like? This right here is a fucking fanboy for Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould. If they are working on this project, if Aaron Paul is signed on for this project, and Bryan Cranston saying I approve of this project, and I hear that we got a little Bob Odenkirk, maybe even Michael McKean stepping in there, and this is combining or whatever, and it's connected to all of this, if this is how he wants to do it, like, now, after because they've written the conclusion of Better Call Saul, and they're like, we can't end this universe here because it gets left on some sort of ambiguity at the end of it, and we have to do something else. This leads me to believe that there's some shit that happens at the end of Better Call Saul that needs a movie, and that's going to have some flashbacks to Breaking Bad times and some future stuff with Jesse and Saul. I don't know, Joe. I don't know how you feel about this. I don't know if you heard this information before or if you have an opinion. I'm extremely excited about it. My fucking television, movie, entertainment.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the Lincoln trilogy coming. I'm excited about the Better Call Saul. I was going to mention it when you brought the Breaking Bad movie coming out. I was going to mention it when you brought it up, the shit in the first place. Very excited. Very excited.
Yeah. Very, very fucking excited, and we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be talking about it every step of the way. With that, Picard coming out soon, and Patrick Stewart's coming back to my television. There's so much exciting stuff coming on. So they're doing a new Star Trek animated series that's going to be a comedic series. CBS All Access. What was that?
Done by the Rick and Morty guys.
Is it done by the Rick and Morty guys?
Yep.
Holy fucking shit. I've never watched Rick and Morty, but I've heard nothing but amazing things about.
I'm pretty sure they probably did not turn that down.
Yeah, holy shit. That is an incredible get by CBS All Access. If Discovery hasn't got you to buy CBS All Access or pirate it, and Picard's not going to get you to buy it or pirate it, then the Rick and Morty style, or not, the Star Trek comedy animated series, potentially, I'm going to wait until we fact check that, but I'm going to take Joe for his word right now, is fact, produced by the Rick and Morty guys, is just fucking if that's true, Joe, and I don't have any reason not to believe you, but that is an incredible get by Star Trek and CBS. I have not seen Rick and Morty. It's and I know a lot of people say, what the fuck? It's one of those shows that I haven't not watched because I don't want to watch it. There's certain things in life that I want to wait and binge watch entire things and save for binge watch, for like put in the bag. Always Sunny in Philadelphia is in that category. I've seen parts of it. I know I love it, but I know I want to binge watch all of this when I'm in a bad mood, or when I'm like, when I'm
Rick
sick.
And Morty is fucking.
That's what I hear. It's one of the best things since sliced cheese, and I'm definitely excited to check it out at some point in time. I have not watched a single frame of it, so it's one of those things that's definitely high on my list. But I feel like once I start watching it, my life's going to be over till I catch up with it. So I need the right time to watch it all. So it'll be a good kind of transition. Have you seen Big Mouth? That's one of Joe really loves Big Mouth. Travis, I was with you. I didn't like it the first time I watched it, but I feel like I need to give it another shot because so many people have told me how awesome it is. But I didn't enjoy it the first night on my first pass on it.
Wait, what?
Big Mouth. Yeah.
Oh wow. So good.
That, I mean, these things are like, I know you're not as high on BoJack as I am. So,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has their, I don't know how, if you like Drawn Together as much as I do. Drawn Together is,
Oh, I loved it. Katie would never let me watch it.
Drawn Together is one of my favorite. It's one of those underrated animated shows that I just
I
absolutely
think so
fucking love.
too. Oh, you
Mark's,
loved those. You loved Real World too. So
yeah, and surreal life, and
yeah,
I still watch Survivor. I have a little bit of a little bit of a guilty pleasure thing with horrible reality shows. Not so much. I don't watch The Bachelor. I don't watch The Real Housewives or any of those kind of shows. But shows like Survivor.
You watched Rock of Love and
Rock of Love. Yes, Rock of Love. Flavor of Love. I watched
Surreal Life, right?
The Real Life, like the VH1 universe, Naked Dating. I watch. I still watch Survivor.
But no, Drawn Together was really good. Drawn Together was really good.
Drawn Together was great.
It has, and it's still it's just a great premise for a spoof.
Yeah, because it's like the trashiest kind of television, and to rag on it in a spoofy kind of way and just have horrible things happen to those characters.
The trashiest kind of television spoofed on by the second most trashiest kind of television.
And it's also cartoon spoof too, where you have all the individual characters, like the princess that has a like
superhero,
the weird thing in her vagina. Alien. Yeah, Drawn Together was great. Real Chance at Love too. Yeah, there was all those spin-off series and stuff too. Yeah, I love horrible television. To me,
I mean, Xander, you must have loved him.
Oh yeah, the Link character. I love, or and then they had the SpongeBob-y kind of character, or the Ren and Stimpy kind of character, and then you had what was it? Was Adam Carolla's voice doing
the pig?
Doing the pig, yeah, doing Porky Pig or something. Great fucking show. Great, really underrated cheesiness. But yeah, I like horrible television shows as much as good television shows, as we know. But a great television show, and to wrap things up, Daredevil season 3. Vincent D'Onofrio. I don't think he will, and I know it means nothing, but this show deserves some recognition at award season for Vincent D'Onofrio's performance. It would never get it, but it deserves it. D'Onofrio is excellent, and Charlie Cox, both like next level acting, killed it this season. And beyond the show just being great, it was filmed awesome. The action scenes were perfectly balanced out with the drama. It fleshed out characters, and it gave growth to almost every character that was on screen, and it really made you work for those action scenes and paid it off and created another awesome villain in this universe, which isn't easy to do, whether you want to talk about the Marvel universe from the movies or especially these television shows, where I feel like Jessica Jones created one good one. Fucking Iron Fist, no good ones except for Finn Jones destroying his own series. And with Luke Cage, I feel like Cottonmouth and what's her name, and Mariah were both good villains, but Cottonmouth doesn't last long enough. But I think in the other two big villains on Luke Cage weren't really as memorable either. So I don't know, Joe, any final words on this season? What probably won't be the last time we talk about it, but any final official words?
Oh, fantastic. It was awesome. Vincent D'Onofrio, hands down, stole every scene he was in.
Yeah, and it was great to have a full Kingpin season, whereas season 1, the Kingpin was one of many elements. In this season, everything was focused around the Kingpin, and it was great. So everybody, if you haven't already, and let's take a few more comments. I love New York. I loved New York too. It was really great shit. The pig was an internet flash cartoon. Oh, thank you, Atari Dad. Big Mouth is really funny at times, but not perfect, says Lark. And Lark also says, how psyched are you for Game of Thrones? Well, I'm really psyched. And Joe and I Joe's like, I don't like talking to you this much. But these morning casts, it's easy. This hour, if I can get off my ass at mornings at 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning, Joe would podcast every day. So it's kind of on me to get out here, and we're going to start trying to do some podcasts early morning, some Game of Thrones stuff. You ready, Joe? Joe's ready. That's Joe's ready face for Game of Thrones. So I'm ready to see a trailer. I'm ready to see some images. I'm ready to start talking about actual stuff, not focusing for us to look too much into leaks and not even focusing too much on the past and looking into hints and shit. I'm ready to start seeing shit and reacting to it and talking about it. And it's coming. It's got to be coming soon. at least the first trailers and first real images. There's Entertainment Weekly article came out this week, and we can analyze how John's holding her Danny in a press photo to symbolize their relationship further. Joe, we could do an hour on that, I guess. No, but no, pretty soon we'll be doing that. We want to do these character recap things, but what we're gonna do, as we got a super chat donation request as well, we're gonna go through the rest of the characters that were on our character list that we're gonna do those individual podcasts and do what Joe and I do best: cheat. And one day go through each character, say a little bit about what we remember about their storyline through the season and what we think is going to happen to them in the next season. We will do that sometime next week, early next week.
Yes.
So Game of Thrones podcast, and it'll be one of the last podcasts in this particular studio. As I mentioned a few times, we'll be moving on November 26th or 27th. So I have to start packing shit up, but probably the last podcast like this, and then the rest will be phony podcasts from the phone and from the other computer. So, Joe, thank you so much as always, buddy.
My pleasure.
And if you haven't already and you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, share the channel with a friend. I can't find the music, so let's do this song instead. Well, I think that kind of rhymed or something. Everybody, I'll talk to you guys next time.